So this training is going to be on how to present an offer to a seller that actually gets accepted. So a lot of people, I mean, first of all, and we're not going to go into that specifically in this training. I have a lot of additions to this training in my program because there's each area you got to perfect, right? So each area, one of them being creating urgency. A lot of you guys don't do this with your offers. You don't create urgency. You don't pitch the offer in the right way. You just tell them an amount. You're just giving an offer and maybe you let it sit there for, man, I mean, a day's already bad, but some of you let it sit for weeks, right? Well, I give them my number. We'll see what happens. And then all of a sudden you get a pipeline like some people have showed me of 35, 40 leads you're working on, that you've submitted offers to, and they're just sitting there in the pipeline. Well, I'm just waiting to hear back. I'm like, that's not how this works. I mean, what are you trying to do? Are you just here to submit offers, or do you want to actually make money? Do you actually want to close deals? Very different things. And I get it. All the stuff that's out there is terrible trainings and stuff. I get it. You're listening to these guys that are teaching you their 7-figure sales script or something that's been dated for years. But like, guys, the point of making an offer is to get it accepted. Seriously, that's it. That's the whole point of making an offer, is to get it accepted and get it accepted on the spot. If you don't get it accepted on the spot, it's because you shouldn't have made that offer. You understand? You weren't ready to make the offer. The seller wasn't ready to accept the offer. You shouldn't have been making that offer. So why are you wasting your time? Why are you wasting their time? Why are you kidding yourself saying, well, I got some deals in the pipeline? No, you don't. You don't. You're waiting way too long. Now they got time to start shopping your offer, seeing what somebody else has, seeing if there's a higher offer out there. I've had people, including myself, lose deals over $1,000. Somebody offered them $1,000 more. They went with them. Shoot, right? No. Don't be a victim. Don't be an idiot. Submit your offers the right way. Submit them so you can close. So we're going to continue with this process and with the training. So last week, hopefully you can see my screen. Last week we covered the first part. So if you missed that training, go back to it. This week we're going to cover the close. So how do you do the close? First thing we want to do is you have to, and this we do during part 3 of the call, is nail down the motivation, right? Which is the pain or pleasure. So in the pain or pleasure, what we're looking at is, there we go. What we're looking for is exactly that. Did we understand what the pain was for this owner to need to sell? Do we understand that thoroughly? Remember, even somebody in foreclosure, I want to preserve my credit. Well, why? Why is your credit so important to you? Well, because you can't do anything without my credit. Well, what are you trying to do? You understand? Like, you have to go deeper into what the pain is, into all the other areas. So it's like, well, you don't want your credit destroyed because it's going to stop you from getting a job, buy another house, get a rental, get a car, get a bunch of things, right? So you want to name them all out, all the things you're avoiding, all the things you're preventing, all the things you're helping them with. The issue is that when you submit your offer, you typically do these first 3, hopefully you're doing these first 3, you go to the appointment, and then you kind of just, hey, here I am, let me take some pictures. Yeah, okay, here are the numbers, and here's my offer. That's it. You continue. We don't continue. We bring it back. We bring it back. We reconnect with the homeowner. We bring up all the motivation. We bring up all the pain points. We bring up all the reasons why they need to sell. And we highlight these things in complete, like as much detail as possible. Then we use proof. These are third-party stories. Why do we use proof? People will buy from you when they can see themselves in somebody else that you helped. So everybody's got a situation that there's a third party for. What do I mean by this is other people have also gone through this too. Now, if you're new in real estate, you probably haven't experienced much of this yourself, but there are third parties. And if you're, part of my mastermind, like I give you a whole list of them that you can use and ideas of how these play out, right? but you can look them up. You can try to, build the experience. This is why, like I tell a lot of people, I can teach you a lot, but I can't teach you experience. You got to earn that. And third party stories, in the order is very crucial. You got to bring up all the pain, and then you got to use the proof to show them, hey, so and so from across the neighborhood had a similar situation, right? And luckily, because we were able to help them out, we were able to stop this, we were able to sell that, we were able to do whatever the pain point is. I mean, a few months later, they were back at it. They were able to start fresh. You understand? And you build up these third party stories. You make them connect. You make them emotional. You make them like really register with the owner, right? And the best way these stories become more impactful is how much do you know the seller's pain points? How much have you connected with this homeowner? The more you know about their situation, the more you can make this story relatable to them. This is why anybody that sells anything, they use testimonials, right? We all hear about testimonials and reviews and all that, because when you see other people that you're like, oh, I'm like this person or whatever, and they really like this person, so let me do that too, right? Testimonials, seeing yourself as a equal to somebody else or the same as somebody else, you're able to relate to somebody else, you're more likely to do the same decisions they have. So if you can tell a third party story that highlights all the pain point, all the pressure, everything that they're going through, or pleasure, right? Some cases, like I talked about last week, that could be pleasure related. But when you can use a third party story, it really puts that final nail in the coffin. Because again, third party stories, it's also about how do you show them, how do you tell them what to do without telling them what to do. So a good salesman doesn't tell people, anybody, what to do. You lead them through questions, right? And through examples and everything. Let them get there. When a homeowner gets there on their own, it is that much more powerful than you forcing them to that point. That's how you get a lot of sellers that have seller's remorse. They start ghosting you afterwards, is because you haven't done any of these things. You haven't connected with them properly. You don't understand their true pain point. You're not showing them enough proof that you know what you're doing and that you can help them in this situation. Now, and I got to be very, very clear with this. Showing them proof does not mean telling them what you're going to do. Okay? Here's a quick example. I've had students that they're telling the heir of the property, oh yeah, we're going to do an affidavit of heirship and we're going to get this sign and we're going to get that sign and blah, 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 blah. All of a sudden, the homeowner thinks, oh, well, if that's all I need to do, then let me try to do this on my own. Right? And then what happens? They try, they fail because they don't know what they're doing. You just gave them a high level what it is, but you gave them way too much information where you made them feel like they can do this on their own. The story isn't about what the solution is, it's about what the solution can give them. So that takes me to my next point, which is we close using the outcome. What do I mean by using the outcome? You do not submit an offer of, I'm buying this house for 140 grand. They get rejected all the time. Why do they get rejected all the time? Because people don't know what 140 grand means in their situation. When a homeowner is going through actual pain and they got actual problems, they don't know if 140 grand is enough. They probably think they need 200 or 220 or whatever it may be. When in reality, if you would have done an outcome close, and what an outcome close is, very briefly, I do extensive trainings on these, but an outcome close is pretty much, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to take care of A, B, C, D, all the pain points, everything. All that is going to be off your plate. You don't have to worry about anything. And you're even going to walk away with $30,000 in your pocket. Now that equals 140 grand. The difference is now the homeowner doesn't need to think about it. The homeowner knows exactly what they're getting with your offer. They know that you're going to take care of all their worries, all their concerns, all their, all their pain, everything, and they know exactly how much money they're walking away with. That offer is 10 times stronger than you giving them 140 grand. And I get it. I've had so many of you that tell me, but John, that's exactly what I said. Bullshit, that's what you said. because you didn't get the offer accepted. Because if you're truly solving their problems, the only response from them is, yeah, where do I sign? That's it. Now, on that, again, I'm trying to give you as much as I can in a short period of time. But on that, when you provide an outcome close, you don't ask what they think. You say, I'm going to take care of all this, and I'm putting $30,000 in your pocket. In order to move forward, we just need to fill out these documents, get them over to title, so we can start the process, so we can get you paid. Sign here. Right? Notice how different that is than, yeah, I can put all this in your pocket. I can take care of all this. Sounds good? What does that mean when you ask a seller? Does this sound good? What do you think? It means to them, like, maybe you should be thinking about this. Maybe this isn't the best option for you, because if it was, why is he asking me what I think if this is the solution? Makes no sense, right? So when you're submitting an outcome close, you are assuming that that outcome is exactly what they need. What this does, it opens the door for when they say to you, oh, I really wanted more. I'm like, you just threw a bucket of ice water on me. I'm shocked. I'm stunned right now. I'm like, what is going on? What do you mean? Well, I was really hoping to get 50. Well, I'm sure you were. And I mean, I wish I could. But remember your credit, the car, the hijab, the apartment, blah, blah, da, da. Remember all that. Like, if I have to give you 50, I can't take care of half those things. We won't be able to do this. I would literally have to just walk away right now. I mean, and you're not in a position, it doesn't seem like walking away is going to help you at all. I hope this is registering, guys, because it's beyond powerful. And I know very, 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 very few people in the industry that have ever talked about this. I frankly don't know anybody that does. Next thing is process. So what do I mean by process? You want to document your process. All right. This whole thing, you got to have it outlined. Why is it important to document your process? Because if it's not documented, you're shooting from the hip every single time you go to a house. When you shoot from the hip every single time you go to a house, every single time you speak to a seller, every single time you have an appointment, those are the results you're going to get. It's very, very hard to correct something that you're not actively tracking. If you don't know what your process is, if you don't know what you're supposed to have with you when you show up to an appointment, how the conversation needs to go, how the offer gets presented, how all these things get done, how likely are you to repeat a successful process that often? You understand? When I listen to calls from some of my students, I immediately can tell if they have a process written out or not. Because the call sounds like crap every single time. Sounds like they're just scattering, trying to find the next thing to say. If you are listening to this and you don't have your process for calling and for closing outlined, documented, written out, and you don't review it regularly, that is probably why you're not closing that many deals. It needs to be written out. It needs to be broken down. I'm reviewing my students' processes all the time, and it needs to be constantly updated because not all processes stay the same. We start with one and we keep modifying it. We keep tweaking it because the market keeps shifting. Our strategies are changing. The way we're buying changes. So everything needs to be updated. And this is why so many of you struggle to hire people. Because when you hire somebody, how do you train somebody on something you don't have outlined and you don't fully understand? It's like, well, just watch me and do what I do. Yeah, good luck with that. Let me know how that works. Lastly, you need 100% certainty. The certainty comes from the things that we talked about, comes from the connection you built with them, from the motivation, from digging deep in the pain points, for doing the proof, for all these things. Once you have all that you fully understand without a margin of doubt that you know that they need to sell and they need to sell for this price and this is the only thing that makes sense, that is how you submit your offer. What do I mean by 100% certainty? When you submit an offer for, call it on net 140, they push back a little and then you go to 145 or 150 just because you can. That's not certainty. And that's how you lose deals. because all of a sudden they're like, oh, this guy's playing a game with me. She doesn't know her numbers. You understand? Because they just went up 5-10 grand. Even if they're not even thinking that you don't know your numbers, they don't feel right. It doesn't feel right to them. It's like, this is weird. Why, like they don't understand like how you went up 5-10 grand. So now you're training them that, you pretty much don't know what the hell you're talking about. And this level of doubt creates less deals for you, creates less closes for you. Out of every appointment I go to, let's say out of 5 appointments, I close 4. The 5th one, maybe I close within that afternoon. The only time I don't close is when I get to a house and, oh boy, they definitely lied, and it's just not a deal. But I contract every deal I go to. There's no reason for me not to go to one. If I nail down my whole call script, I should only be going to appointments that are deals. And if I go to appointments that are deals, when I show up to close. I don't show up to verify. I don't show up for anything. I show up to close. I got contracts in both my vehicles. I'm ready to close on every single deal. Every time I show up to an appointment, I am ready to close. It's the only reason why I'm there. That's where I think you guys make the mistake, is you show up to appointments seeing what could happen. Well, John, I need to run my numbers. What numbers? What numbers do you need to run? What? 70% minus repairs? No. Nobody runs those freaking numbers. Those numbers were trashed 10 years ago, and they're still trashed today. You shouldn't be running any numbers. You follow this framework, you don't run numbers. It's that simple, guys. That's how you get high margin deals. You want to run your 70% minus repairs? Cool, run them. Let me know how your, $5,000-$10,000 wholesale deals every couple months shakes out and helps you with your business, because that's all you're going to get from that. You understand? Stop running numbers. What you're there to do is find the pain point, solve it, and get the margins. Would a homeowner want an extra 100 grand? Of course. Who the hell wouldn't? But is that going to get the deal done? That's the choice you got to make. So I hope this has been helpful. I see some questions coming in. So if you got questions, just drop them in the chat. Again, if you guys like this, enjoy this, follow me. You can schedule a free call with me to hop on a strategy call, see if the group is a good fit for you, all the systems and everything I teach. But if not, come back every single Monday. I'm going to do more trainings, and just keep dropping questions, especially in the Facebook group. Drop any questions, anything that you're struggling with. I'm the one that responds. Nobody else is responding for me, and I'm there to help you guys out as much as possible. All right. So I appreciate you all for joining me live, and I'll see you all next week.